Hey, I got an awesome new whiteboard video for you. Our video on how to nail the first 30 seconds of an insurance call has got 110,000 views in the first 2 years. We just hit the 2-year anniversary to that video, which is a popular video. Everyone's loved that video. I'm about to give you an additional details and tips so that you can start expanding outside of just the first 30 seconds, maybe in the first minute or the first couple minutes. So do not miss a second of this as we walk through exactly how to nail more of the call. Maybe because of that video, maybe now you're nailing the first 30 seconds really well, but maybe we want to nail the first several minutes, the first 30 minutes, the first hour, whatever, okay? So it's kind of crazy to think about back on that video from 2 years ago and how well it's done, but I want to walk through specifically the next 30 seconds and right off the bat. And then I'm going to give you some tips towards the end on how you can actually get people on the phones. Because we had one of the comments on the video that we just shot a couple years ago was, dude, I used this and I booked 2 appointments out of 15 leads, right? But they said, hey, without this, I probably would have booked 0, so it was helpful. Maybe we can help them get more people on the phone. So I'm going to save that for the end. Okay, so right off the bat, here's what I want to share. Okay, we talked through like a bunch of stuff about being in control and referencing the first few seconds of the call, etc. But I want to jump out right out of the gate and say that most people, when it comes to the phone, just need to be normal. Like we get so worked up, right? We like juice ourselves up. We start like getting like fearful, and we start getting like sweats, and we start like really overreacting when we're working the phones. Just be normal. Think about it for a second. Someone calls you. Do you want them to just like sound like they're working a script, or just be normal, right? Like they're talking to a human. Okay, so there's several things that we talked about that you can continue to do. But one thing you got to do right out of the gate is you got to be normal. Like reference who you're talking to. Don't make it sound so salesy. Just be normal. People want to talk to people, right? People relate to people, so be normal. Okay, second thing we're talking about the next 30 seconds is really the scripting. Like we talked through a little bit of scripting, but you don't get through a lot of scripting in the first 30 seconds, do you? But in that next couple minutes, you can get through a lot of scripting. I would say you have to have a script. You should have a script and you should follow a script. I'm not saying you follow it down to the penny. I'm not saying you follow it down to every and every I and am and all that. I'm just saying you need to have that as part of what you are doing. Like a script is really, really, really valuable. So you at least have an outline, right? It's almost like a guideline. It's almost like, right? It's almost like a road, right? And you're driving along the road. You don't want to end up way out here. So it at least gives you something to where if you bounce back and forth, you stay on the path. So the goal is to like what? Actually make a sale and get an appointment. So it keeps you on the straight and narrow, so to speak. Okay, so a script, really important. If we think through like the script elements, okay, what are the elements of a script that I need to have? Well, a lot of scripts will have, which leads me to my next point, a lot of scripts have a way for you to pivot to a question. Like if you do not know what to say, you have a question that you could pivot to. A lot of times when people try to take you off of the road that you're trying to go, and they're like, well, how much is this going to cost? You don't want to jump way out here and start talking about price because it's going to keep you from getting back here as fast as possible, right? Is that making sense? It's like kind of a cool visual. So if you think about it, and that's happening, maybe when that happens, hey, great question. I promise you I will address that. It does vary by certain situations. Because of that, Mary, tell me, what got you thinking about covering burial and final expenses, right? Or whatever this product you're selling. That will get you back on here. That's the point of having like questions that you can use and pivot to. So they may say, hey, you know what, dude, I'm not interested in this, okay? Totally understand. Because you requested it, it's my job to get you the information. It's up to you with what you do with it. Doesn't matter. So should I drop it off in the morning or in the afternoon? When are you normally home? Like, is that a pivot that's going to get you closer to this? Yes. Does it mean every time they say you're not interested, that you're definitely going to get an appointment? No. But would that help you get turn some of the not interested and the no's into actual appointments? Yes. Like that's the point of calling and appointment setting and stuff. So most people think, dude, when I listen to stuff and I apply the stuff that you're teaching me, I should get an appointment on every single call. Dude, I don't get an appointment on every single call, right? Jordan Belfort don't get an appointment on every call. Grant Cardone don't get an appointment on every call. Brian Tracy don't get an appointment on every call. And I don't and you won't, right? Neither of us are going to. Our job is when someone's on the fence and they're like straddling the road, the fence, and they may jump off and like be like, no, or hang up on you or whatever. It's your job to like try to turn some of those maybes into an additional maybe by just booking an appointment, right? So it's a different approach. Okay. Also, outside of having some questions to pivot that are a part of your script, I want you to think too that you really need to be confident on the phone. Now, you don't need to know everything to be confident, right? Because you can confidently tell someone, hey, I don't understand it all. That's okay to say, right? Now, most people, as you just saw, will naturally want to like, they'll hesitate, they'll get some ums, they get some uhs. Well, that shows a lack of confidence. So if someone throws you a curveball and they say, hey, well, how does this work if this happens? Hey, great question. I will make sure that I gather the correct necessary information and that I address that when we meet. Okay, so I'll bring that on Friday. Should we look in the morning or afternoon? Which is better for you, right? Like it's a way to pivot and stay. I shared it from the video back in February of 2020 about the first 30 seconds. Now we're talking about, hey, okay, cool. This is how you can stay in control of a call. And a lot of it is pivoting back to the middle, right? Back to the road to where you're wanting to go. Confidence is key. When you're saying a lot of uhs and ums and I don't knows and this and that, like it's okay. You want to be honest. I'm not saying you want to lie, right? Because you want to be honest. But when you stutter, when you say a lot of uhs and ums or I don't know or no, that's not why I'm calling. That's like you don't want to also attack the caller. Like a lot of people have a tendency when someone kind of like says, "Hey, I didn't do this." It's not your job to say, "Well, yes, you did. You're wrong, Betty." Like no. Like just chill out, be normal, and say, "Hey, most people forget. I get it. I would have probably forgot too. However, we've got your stamp, we've got your signature, we've got the date, we've got all the information. You gave us this info. It's all good. I'm going to be out in your area. I'm going to just drop it off. I'm going to deliver it so that you have the info. It's all good." Right? Like that's the kind of tone that you need to carry. You're very positive, right? You're very agreeable, which is really important when you're working the phones. You don't want to just literally always be, if you have a personality, a lot of people have personalities to where you're naturally disagreeable. You don't really want that. Like you want to be agreeable with people. People like people that agree with them. They don't want someone that's always negative and telling them they're wrong, right? Think about it. You don't either. I don't either. And so they don't either, right? Also, too, if you think about it, you really don't want to start and stop all the time when you're making calls, right? You don't want to start and stop. What's that mean? When you're making you don't want to make one call and then end the call and then do a bunch of research or evaluations or do this or that. You want to just keep calling. Like you want to call. You want to get in a rhythm. You want to get momentum going. You don't want to make one call and then 13 minutes later you make another one. You're not going to be in a rhythm. I'm telling you, the more calls you make in a setting, in a period of time, the better you will get, right? Like this is how you start to dominate the first 60 seconds of a call, how you can move into those next few minutes being better, and how you can get in a rhythm and start to actually have some success when you're making calls. Now, a few bonuses really quick. If you're having trouble getting a hold of them, here's a few extra bonuses that you can use to get a hold of them. Triple dial. Okay, for those who don't know what triple dial is, let's assume this is a phone instead of a dry eraser. You call them, no answer. Call them back, no answer. Call them back, no answer. Back to back to back. You don't wait and do it once a day or stagger throughout the day. You call, no answer. Immediately call back, no answer. Immediately call back, no answer, right? And you eventually, I normally leave a voicemail on the third call. It's not relevant for the bonus, but whatever. Okay, triple dialing is key. That can double your answer rate. A lot of times if you're like, hey, I only get 10% answer rate when I'm calling internet leads. Maybe we can get you up to 15 or 20%, which is great, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Also calling different times of the day. If you call someone at 3 p.m., don't call them at 3 p.m. the next day. Like if you can help it or you have different dial times. Also call from a different number, right? Calling from different numbers can help. If you call someone 6 times from one number and they don't answer, maybe call them from somebody else's number, right? Maybe Dylan will let me borrow his phone and I'll just hammer people from his phone, right? Which he's probably not going to do, but whatever, okay? Different numbers is good, okay? It's important because it changes it up. Also, texting works wonders for our sales team. Everything that we're doing, like texting is really smart and it can get people on the phone. The point of a phone call, okay? I'm gonna just keep it real. The point of a phone call is not to jump out and make a sale. It's not even to get an appointment. The point of the call that you're making, we're talking about how you can have success in these first 60 seconds. The point of the call, when you initiate the call, is just to make contact. It's to get them on the phone. Then when you get them on the phone, hey, guess what? Be normal. Follow a script. Pivot. Have questions you can pivot with. Be confident, agreeable. Don't start and stop. Build some momentum. If you love this video, let me know below. If you never subscribed before, do that. Give me a like because it's like, dude, I like the video. It's good content. I think, Dylan, you said the other video had like, I don't know, 4,000 likes or something. Let's see if this one can maybe beat that video, okay? So use this content, go make some calls, apply this, and let us know the results that you have. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're gonna love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. So here's the formula. I'm gonna walk through 5 specific steps to help you gain more self-confidence and belief in yourself and really start to make this picture really clear. Okay, because when the picture gets clear, right? When the picture gets clearer,